Hello, and welcome to my very first episode on stationeers. Now, this episode is just, given that it's the first, it's just going to be me just yapping about how to set up a rudimentary, very basic filtration system for your base. Later episodes, I will probably go into detail about how to set up a proper power bank, how to set up an airlock. If I learn how to set up an airlock. But this is just basically how to set up this goes into an airlock. And it also helps keep your base naturally breathable, as last thing you want is, you to build a base and then, you start suffocating in it thanks to lack of oxygen. So basically, what it is this yellow pipe. This pipe is fully connected to the internal airlock system, so there is, it'll be changed later, but right now it's two vents that pull the air from the room, goes through this pipe out and into the filtration zone. So they're all color coded, so I know exactly what they're doing. This filters pollutants, so anything, POL. It is very toxic. It then goes through an underground pipe into this one, which is just for fun and games. Literally does nothing. Interesting. Yeah, what it is oxygen flows in. Sorry. All of the air from the room flows in, goes through and through, gets filtered out into these two pollutants, nitrous oxide, then goes through again, goes through the unfiltered section, goes into the input, and whatever's filtered, so this one is carbon dioxide or CO2, it is then sent through the filtered section, the filtered output, to which it then goes into a tank for safekeeping. They're insulated just so that they don't turn into the liquid versions. It is then everything unfiltered, so the oxygen and nitrogen is then sent through the unfiltered into another one. This one filters volatiles just for fun, just need an extra one. And then it comes out here. That's weird. So yeah, instead of having it just all these pipes rampage around, wires are on top, that needs to be filtered underground so that it's all filtered in through the ground. So you enter the airlock, you turn this and this on, and I'll just... There we go. All that's left is nothing. You then turn these off for rudimentary. This one will later become your oxygen supply, so you can fill the room with oxygen. And this room should be just straight oxygen and nitrogen, which means I should...
Temperature critical. Pressure critical.
It would be better if the room was pressurized. This pipe network is empty. Yeah, this will be fixed. So these two are your output. This is your input. I can actually fix that while I'm here. wrench. Fix that. I should probably do both. Wrench and wrench. Interesting. Now, let's tank empty. Yeah. Though this mode is entirely in creative, just as a testing ground. So it is oxygen. This works. Very interesting. Pressure's at 21, 22. Remember which buttons to press. I think that's. Yeah. It is safe pressure. It's not decent, but it is a safe pressure. And it is going to slowly rise and fall. Temperature's normal. Middle cold, but need to be 99%. There's like nothing. So, very rudimentary, and only I have no knowledge of what I'm doing, and it doesn't work, which is kind of weird. It should work. It worked on the so it's filtering. It's not filtering correctly. That's questionable. It is filtering the air. And I have just thrown my... Wait, where did I... but these are, you can set them up to have a programmable chip. That takes a lot more knowledge than I actually have. Oh, there it is. Too far. The filtration is, as it is in the game, it is the most required item when it comes to building a successful planetary base. Because if you don't filter the air, you can't breathe, and if there's no oxygen in there, you can't produce plants, you can't do anything in the building. You can live without it, but it is kind of required for some things outside the planet. This is out of power. That can be yeah. This was filled with mostly oxygen. This one instead had a rudimentary just ventilation system for the airlock. This isn't sustainable. It required a portable gas tank, interesting, to constantly fill this area with air whenever you needed it. Instead, it would always filter the air out and into a passive vent, which I don't think is a decent way to do this, but it's cheap. It comes with the lander, so it's the most cheapest option. But what it would do is all it basically did was it would take all the air in the airlock, so everything here, pull it out, turn it in, put this into a zero pressure state, and then you would open it up, and you would get all the oxygen over here, regardless. It's not sustainable at all because you'll run out of tank, you run out of oxygen in the tank, you'll eventually just deplete it all and have to get more. That is what makes mostly because when you go through the airlock, when you come out, all that oxygen is flowing into that room for the time it takes for the airlock to be open. But when you go it takes the oxygen, filters it, sends it back into the room, so you always have a fresh supply of oxygen. Take this, if I just open this, it'll fill to about 3 kilopascal. Actually, I think it'll just sit between 2. This then turns on and filters all of the non-good chemicals and sends them into the room. This one is for internal, so that it always pulls oxygen from inside the room into the room, and you never lose out on oxygen. But you turn this off so that it is sucking fresh oxygen out of the base. It's best to have this running just to keep that flowing. But yes, I'll go into too much detail about how to set that up. Now onto the technique setup. This requires you to have a base setup.
Low pressure.
Oh, yeah.
Pressure critical.
So, yeah. What you're going to need is a functioning power supply for this. Only because, everything runs on power. It's the fun part about survival games. So, you're going to take your power bank. You could have 1 to 20 of these. And you can always connect them. What you do is you take wire. You take cable, as it is called, this, and you connect it to a area power controller. You want to use your crowbar to have this open whenever you, especially during setup, you want to have this open, just so that you can turn on and off the power depending on it. And then you run cable all the way around, line it up, set it up for all of these, make sure that it goes into the power side. It'll have a little lightning. Don't connect it to your data connection. It won't provide power that way. You then take your pipe. When you're in here, you set up your active vents, your passive vents, your gas sensors. That's for everything. But for this basic setup, you just connect your active vents to power. You connect your doors to power so you can open them without using a crowbar. You then set them up so one pipe leads out, that leads up and out to this one. You then connect it to the very first item you want to remove. It could be any of these first. You could do CO2 first. You could do nitrous oxide first. I just did balloon just for the fun of it. It is best you color code these, especially if you're gonna like mix and mangle these together for whatever reason. If you want to make it look as managed as possible, color code them. That's the best way of doing this. Now, I left these pipes uncolored because most of the time you're only going to see the corner pipe as it sticks out of the flooring. So there's no point in spray painting and wasting the spray paint. So this is the basic setup. You can make this smaller, make it more compact, shove all of them together. But I have it like this just so that you could, just for demonstration purposes. You still have to have them split. Like, you can move this one over and just have like one-ish person space between them, because you can move the wire towards that and have it just right up against it. So, yeah. What else? So you connect your pipe, you connect it to the filtration. Make sure it's filtration. It is a, if I remember correctly, I don't think I have it sitting around. I might. Atmospherics. It is an atmospherics thing. The atmosphere comes in 5 bunches: air conditioner, filtration, electrolyzer, H2 combustor, and nitrolyzer. You just want the filtration. You just want the filtration just so you can at least do it. The air conditioner is as it says, and the rest I don't know. I don't know. But that'll be fun, in a later time. You then, as I said earlier, you connect them all. Connect the pipe to the tank. It can be any tank. This could be a large insulated tank, a small insulated tank, a regular tank, small gas tanks, like those small bottles. You can have them this close. They're actually intersecting if you look at that. It's kind of annoying. But yeah. You can set this up in like 10-fold. filters come in multiples. So if you look at the filters, they come in water filters, volatiles, pollutants, oxygen, nitrous oxide, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, and then that's it. So you could set up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7 filters. I only have 4. So I could add 3 more and filter through everything. Now, if you're having oxygen as your last filtered item, you might want to set it up where it's you could set it up where it goes through a tank as like a side. Like you have a tank, a pipe, and you have that same pipe split off onto a valve, liquid, like a digital valve. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure this has data. Pretty sure it has a data marker, so you can set it up so that it if I can speak, so that it only functions when it first required. So it has a gas sensor that checks for the oxygen and or a pressure sensor. I think there's a pressure sensor that checks for internal pressure and fills it with sets it up so that it fills the blank space with the pressure sensor or gas sensor so that it is always filled with the correct gas. You can set that for everything. This game gets complicated. Even the coding in the spec, you could code even, like, say, that solar panel to track the sun, and coding is what makes everything larger, more automated. That is a completely separate topic. It is good for this. You can set up coding so these only act when a specific data input is run, or it checks and only runs these when there's, say, gas going through the pipe so you never waste power. But given the way I have this set up, this entire thing is meant for just to run the planet until it's gone with, solid fuel generators, and then 4 batteries, soon to be 4 or 5 wires are in. That's for other stuff. But yeah, thing you have to worry about when it comes to pipe networks is your stress. If you over stress a pipe, it will explode. And the worst thing that can happen is if you finally pressurize an entire room, get it breathable, and a pipe that is meant for filtration only, pipe like this one, the yellow one, if that bursts while in there, in your base, it is pain, because you have to find the leak, repair it, which usually means if you have built the whole base, walled it, built everything, fully furnished it, you have to tear all that down, replace the pipe, then check for more breaks with the atmosphere analyzer cartridge for your handheld tablet. It's not fun. I wish I could actually actually no, I can have it pressurize itself. Yep. There we go. See, you have your oxygen, your CO2, your nitrogen, and your pollutant. The pressure is building. Eventually, it'll get to a point where it'll overstress the pipe if there's too much pressure within the system. I don't think it'll actually hit max pressure. But what it should do is send nitrogen oxide. Wait, what? So it is going through, just it's so minimal that it doesn't register at that one. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, the only way to pressurize a pen is to send air through it as reasonable. It will slowly lose its pressure as well no air is in the system. And eventually, not applicable pressure. Which is kind of interesting. As we run through the time, actually, time is almost up for this video, so if you would like to see more, please leave a like, especially subscribe. Subscribe and ring the bell, and click the bell so you can always get notified from any new uploads I post. I will hopefully see you all next time.